just inside of Wisconsin, driving from Minneapolis all the way to Pittsburgh, because we're going to hold a rally, our Faith, Hope, and Love, not Insurrections and Christian Nationalism tour. And I got to tell you, I never would have thought we'd be traveling the country, having to say to people, you should be opposed to insurrections, and you shouldn't vote for candidates who say they want to give pardons to insurrectionists, who say that the insurrectionists were right, who say that the insurrectionists were the people who were the heroes in the story. But that's what we're hearing from Republicans. Look, I wish we had better things to be calling people to, like faith, hope, and love, and the extension of goodness. But we also have to recognize that in this election season, Christian nationalism is on the rise. People are saying all kinds of things and making all kinds of points that are really dangerous to our society, really dangerous to our sense of who and how we are as a country. So this election season just means more than ever before. We're so glad you're part of Electionary, because we all need to reflect on this. Wherever you come from in your faith tradition, however you still find yourself connected to it, I've been a pastor my entire adult life. My Christian faith means a lot to me. My Christian faith is what compels me to not support Christian nationalism, because Christian nationalism says that Christians should be treated special, we should be protected by our government, that we have a unique role to be the salvation of our government and of our world. That's not how I understand our Christianity. My Christianity calls us to care for one another regardless of our faith. The teachings of Jesus tell us to care for all people no matter what. That preference is not given to Christians. Christians offer themselves in service of one another to be a benefit and blessing to the world. This is the big competition going on inside the faith. It's also really dangerous for our society. We can't have one religion having more power than all the others. It's too frequent and too often that happens. So we're going to be out here on the road. We're going to be out here with the motorcycles. We're going to be out here with the truckers. We're going to be out here with the vacationers. We're going to be out here with the workers, doing all the work that we can. We hope to be meeting up with our big orange bus. We're working hard to get our funding together so that we can use this vehicle, this trailer and this truck as a support vehicle to get out and call people in Pennsylvania, where we're going this week, in Michigan, where we're going to be on Saturday and Sunday, over in Arkansas, as we're going to be there next week, down into Texas the week after that, coming back up through the Midwest, coming back up all across the upper Midwest, because we have a story to tell. It's important. We're so glad you're part of Electionary. Wherever you are, we know not everybody can get out on the road. We know that not everybody has the privilege of traveling like this. We take this privilege really seriously, and thank you for all of your support, watching videos, spreading the word, sharing the story, your financial contributions. That's what makes all this stuff go. So we like to joke, what is it that moves us around the country? Well, it's faith, hope, love, and a little bit of fuel. So we actually have to put fuel in the vehicle. So if you've made a donation, or if you do in the future, it literally goes right into the tank. So as we like to say, be in the tank with us on all this work. Our faith compels us to care for one another, to do all that we can. The tradition I come from says, look, you hit the road, you invite everybody, you don't exclude anyone. When people have lost their way, you call them back. When people are hurting one another, you call for healing. When people are doing the good in the world, you cheer them on no matter who they are. So that's what we're up to. Really glad you're part of Electionary. Thanks for being with us tonight. And you're gonna have a great time with Michael Waters, Vanessa Ryerson, Dan Dietrich. It's really gonna be great. So, from a McDonald's and a Flying J right to wherever you find yourself, welcome to Electionary.
Hey everybody, my name is Dan. Welcome to Electionary. This is a song by a band called The Brilliance, Will We Ever Rise? Will we ever rise? Will we ever rise above the fear? Can we learn to see the need? Can we share humanity? I can see another day come. Broken people, we can be made whole. We can be made whole. We can be made whole. As we lay down our weapons, open up our hearts. Love is shaping us, recreating us. another way. Forgive as you forgave. I can see another day come. Broken people, we can be made whole. Can be made whole. Can be made whole. As we lay down our weapons, open up our hearts. Love is shaping us, creating us. Come heal now, take away the blindness, so we can see what we were meant to see. We feel like devastating darkness, but I can see another day come. Oh, I can see another day come. Broken people, we can be made whole. Yeah, broken people, we can be made whole. Oh, broken people, we can be made whole. We can be made whole. We can be made whole. As we lay down our weapons, open up our hearts. Love is shaping us, recreating us. Will we ever rise? Will we ever rise? So glad you're with us. Love to introduce you now to the Reverend Dr. Michael Waters. He's going to share a word with us. Reverend Waters is going to be on the road with us again. We went on tour with him the last couple tours, and his voice, his message is just so powerful, so needed. So grateful for him and his willingness to share it with us tonight. And we'll be in Texas in just a week live with him. And so if you're in the Dallas area, look us up, votecommongood.com. We got the dates up there. We'd love to see you out at some of the events we're doing live and in person, out on the road, all the way leading up to Election Day. But here's Reverend Dr. Michael Waters.
Hello, friends. This is Mike Waters. Hear these words from the Markan Gospel. Jesus replied, "The most important commandment is this. Listen, O Israel, the Lord our God is the one and only Lord. And you must love the Lord your God with all your heart, all your soul, all your mind, and all your strength. The second is equally important. Love your neighbor as yourself. No other commandment is greater than these." Friends, we have a 2-year-old in our household who has brought us great joy, vitality, and excitement. One of the things that I have recently been doing a lot of is watching children's programming. It's allowed me to become acquainted yet again with a part of my childhood, a particular show that was very helpful in my growth and development. I'm certain that you're familiar with this show. It's called Sesame Street, where we got to meet such persons as Bert and Ernie, Big Bird, Snuffleupagus, Count Dracula. These days, we're also seeing Elmo and Zoe and so many other characters that are part of this show that began in November of 1969. Sesame Street is still making history, as they have just added for the first time a black woman who will serve as a puppeteer. It's been a joy watching Sesame Street with our 2-year-old or almost 2-year-old to become acquainted again with that show. We got some additional DVDs that he enjoys listening to and watching as we are traveling. I don't get, of course, to watch those DVDs with him. My eyes are on the road. He's sitting in the back seat, but I am able to listen to those segments and to those songs. And recently, he was watching a video that as I listened to, a lump came up in my throat and a tear in my eye. It was Lena Horne. Lena Horne was singing a song with Grover, trying to help Grover overcome his shyness in the world. Song says, "How do you do? Hold out your hand, smile and say, glad to meet you." It's a simple song, but what touched me was the enduring nature of that song, the love that seemed to permeate from Mrs. Horne's voice, the care and concern that was even expressed towards that puppet. I couldn't help but think what a privilege it is to be nice to one another. What a gift it is to express love and kindness and concern for your neighbor. In fact, in doing so, we are fulfilling the very commandments of this gospel, the very words of the Christ that encourages us not only to love God with our heart, our souls, our minds, but to love our neighbors as ourselves. I think it touched me so deeply, this concern and this love for others, because it's so much opposed to what we see happening in politics today. I don't necessarily see a compelling vision of love for neighbor permeating from Washington, D.C. I don't necessarily see a love of God and desire to serve and love neighbor permeating from many state legislatures across the nation. Do I show that I love my neighbor by making it harder for them to participate in the democratic process? Do I show that I love my neighbor when I have a commitment to suppress the vote? Do I show that I love my neighbor when I create barriers to health care? In my own state, there's so many barriers to a woman's right to seek the health care she needs and making decisions regarding her reproductive health. So many states across the nation that don't even provide an opportunity for a woman or girl who is the victim of rape, the victim of incest, to have charge over her reproductive health. Is there anything that is more opposed to the love that is expressed in this gospel than putting human beings yearning to be free? Many have made the arduous journey from Central America only to come here and to be loaded on buses and planes and flown to the far reaches and corners of our country and just dropped off, made to be pawns in the midst of political debate. Where's the humanity there? Have we looked in the eyes of these men, women, boys and girls, and saw them as our neighbors? I think if we believed them to be our neighbors, we'd be far more careful in terms of how we receive them as they enter into our country. Yes, friends, that song that Lena Horne sang touched me because it was so pure. It was so beautiful. It was so nice. Offered an invitation to get to know someone as your neighbor. Family, might I declare that not only is democracy on the ballot, that not only in the midst of this midterm election will we be voting to save democracy, but quite possibly love is also on the ballot. And we'll be voting to determine whether or not we truly love God, whether we truly love our neighbors, and certainly in loving our neighbors, whether we truly love ourselves. Could you imagine what our nation would be like if it was more like Sesame Street? A place where people of diverse backgrounds and expressions could live together in harmony, where they help each other to solve the issues of their day, where they make room for each other and see the light of God shining through them. You know, my prayer is that we not miss this moment to reclaim the soul of this nation. My prayer is that we would fulfill the command of this Matthean gospel to love God, to love neighbors, to love ourselves. That we will push away the harshness of this moment by committing ourselves to creating a better nation together. And I pray that we do so because I have a 2-year-old in my home. And certainly I hope that he and his brother and sisters will ultimately grow up in a world and in a nation far kinder and far more loving than the one we see right now. God bless you. And let's work together to make it so.
It's been a real honor to get to share the stage with Reverend Dr. Waters and learn from him. And excited to be out on the road with him in just a week or two in Texas. If you're in Texas, in the Dallas area, check out the website. The dates are up there. This is a song I wrote a couple years ago called Hymn for the 81%. And it references the 81% of white evangelicals that voted for Donald Trump, even after hearing all the really troubling stuff that he said on the campaign trail. And in the years since, good Christian people have just doubled down and continued to vote for people like Trump. And so I've been singing this song on the road, and it's been really great to learn from people like Reverend Waters. And in the years since, I've realized that this song doesn't quite go far enough. And so I wrote a new verse for it that I think addresses some of the underlying reasons for why we ended up in this place where good Christian people are voting for people that look nothing like Jesus. And so stick around for the new verse to this song, Hymn for the 81%. I grew up in your churches, Sunday morning and evening service, melting tears at the foot of the rugged cross. You taught me every life is sacred, feed the hungry and clothe the naked. I learned from you the highest law is love. And I believed you when you said I should trust the words in red to guide my steps through a wicked world. I assumed you'd do the same, so imagine my dismay when I watched you lead the sheep straight to the wolves. You said to love the lost, well, I'm loving you now. You said to speak the truth, well, I'm calling you out. Why Why don't you live the words that you put in my mouth? May love overcome, justice rule down. Oh, they started putting kids in cages, ripping mothers from their babies, and I look to you to speak on their behalf. Oh, but all I heard was silence, or worse, you justified it, singing glory, hallelujah, raise the flag. See, your fear it turned to hatred, but you baptized it with language torn from the pages of the good book. And you weaponize religion, and you wonder why I'm leaving to find Jesus on the wrong side of your walls. And you said to love the lost, well, I'm loving you now. You said to speak the truth, well, I'm calling you out. Why don't you live the words that you put in my mouth? May love overcome, justice roll down. Come home, come home. You're better than this. Oh, you taught me better than this. Come home, come home. You're better than this. Oh, you taught me better than this. Come home, come home. Oh. Maybe I was too naive, or I just didn't want to see that there's always been a little poison in the well. 'Cause we sit on stolen lands, a nation built by stolen hands, and we use the Bible to justify it all. Yeah, from slavery and segregation to mass incarceration, this is who we are, but not who we have to be. There's a lot of work to do, pull up the evil by the roots, but repentance has to come before there's peace. And you said to love the lost, I'm trying to love you now. You said to speak the truth, that's why I'm calling you out. Why don't you live the words that you put in my mouth? May love overcome, injustice roll down. May love overcome, injustice roll down. May love overcome, injustice roll down. May love overcome, and justice roll down. Thanks for being with us tonight. We'll close with this prayer.
May God bless us with discomfort at easy answers, half-truths, and superficial relationships, so that we may live from deep within our hearts. May God bless us with anger at injustice, oppression, and exploitation of God's creations, so that we may work for justice, freedom, and peace. May God bless us with tears to shed for those who suffer pain and rejection, hunger, and war, so that we may reach out our hands to comfort them and to turn their pain to joy. And may God bless us with enough foolishness to believe that we can make a difference in the world, so that we can do what others claim cannot be done, to bring justice and kindness to all our children and all our neighbors who are poor. Amen.
Hey, y'all. Thanks for being with us here on Electionary tonight. Spread the word. Share this with some friends. We're making our way still across Wisconsin. You keep making your way where you need to make your way to, and keep an eye out for our big orange bus in October. We're hitting the road and we're ready to roll. We need all of us. It's all hands on deck. It's time for the common good coming from all of us. Thanks for being a part of Electionary. We'll see you next week, and keep up with us on Thursday and Saturday and Sunday and next Tuesday when we're holding rallies all around the country. See you soon.